Oh, are we distracted?
Or no, I said destruction.
Oh.
Who's distracted? What?
Squirrel.
I think that was your segue, Peach.
Oh. So, let's talk about Apple for a second. So,
there you go. I got you.
We all know what's going on with Apple, right? The lawsuit the antitrust lawsuit that they received by Epic against them for billing. The one that tweets its rival, Ryzen.
I'm the best hurricane ever.
We're gonna wreck the South.
Are you saying that in Alexis's voice? Ew,
What?
David.
Ew, David.
Exactly. Ill David. Ill Ryzen.
Ryzen.
I'm
and
going to cause more devastation in the Caribbean than any other hurricane in existence. Like, no doubt.
it's a lively little raindrop. So, as we know, there was the antitrust lawsuit against Apple from Epic, saying that it really limits how they can charge, and that the Apple environment, Phone OS, I guess, what it's called now, and iPad OS, whatever it's called, just iOS in general. We're sticking with the old nomenclature. Epic stated that it was a monopoly, which I kind of agree with. You really have no other way to pay. Well, after that happened, over 200 developers got together to file a class action lawsuit against Apple to follow up the antitrust lawsuit, and Apple actually decided to back down for once. Now, I did do some research on some of the numbers. Apple didn't disclose anything, of course. They're trying to handle this behind closed doors, kind of the same way Disney does. But I'm gonna kind of rap about it real quickly for y'all. Not actually rap, but
Yeah,
I'll drop a beat.
all right. Give me a beat. I don't know how to rap. I didn't come here for this crap.
Hey.
Hey.
Yo, that's spitting bars, yo.
That's a banger. Do they still
Thank
say
you.
banger? No, it's a bop now.
The Hoot Nanny. Anyway,
It's all that in a bag of chips.
tell how old we
Like,
are.
oh my god, that's bitchin'.
No cap.
As if.
So, Apple decided to go ahead before we even hear from the judge about the antitrust lawsuit, about them changing the way they charge. They're now in the process of allowing for third-party billing options, but they will give you... Got the kiddo in the back. They will give you the option to either use Apple with their lower than percentage prices, or you can use their third party. And they're already revamping how much of a percentage that they're pulling from the developers for everything. Take a shower.
Oh, shit.
What do you guys think about this sudden change?
I think it's Apple trying to save their ass, and before the judge rules, they're like, oh, we're just gonna settle this right now, and because it's maybe not gonna go in their favor.
Yeah.
So my question was, do you think any of this has to do with the new Apple crypto wallet that they want to do?
See, I
Because-
thought about that.
If they want to start a crypto wallet, which them, Square, all the big Silicon Valley tech firms, right? Like they're just starting getting into the crypto wallets. But in order to do that, they have to open up and accept more coins. They have to change their business model in order to do that.
Well, Apple would already be able to do that because they have their established bank. They have their own credit card services. It's I wouldn't be surprised if they start to lean towards that direction. Bitcoin's already becoming a lot more accessible for multiple people, especially as a form of payment. I mean, look at Tesla. They've been accepting Bitcoin on and off.
Well, I mean, not just that. You have a lot of big time DeFi players stepping up to the plate,
Mm-hmm.
and so these big companies like Apple and Square, they have to do, they're scrambling right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all kind of watched what's going on with Bitcoin right now,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's saying it mirrors 2017. So if that is true, then by this time next year, people are going to try to buy things at Apple with crypto. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the path we're on.
It'd be fucking badass if I can just go and drop a couple hundred Dogecoin and be like, hey, that Apple Pen I
I
want.
can finally get rid of this Doge.
Yeah, I can finally drop all this fucking Dogecoin.
I have a question, like how that would work logistically, like in a retail environment. So, like, let's say cryptocurrency becomes like the new norm to use, right? How would like refunds happen? So, like, you spent like 0.00001 Bitcoin. Like, how does that work?
So it comes into what they call smart contracts,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to get into on the top. But what's going to happen is you have networks like Flexa. It's called the Flexa network. And so they function like PayPal right now, right? So how you can use PayPal to buy and get returns, that's what Flexa they use, and they have their own crypto, like the whole DeFi, the decentralized financial system is what they're building.
Mm-hmm.
So there's ways to do it to get not too into it. It just something like the Flexa network, or there's a few of them like that.
Hey Alexa, do a Flexa.
Right. So
it's a good thing our Alexa's in the kitchen.
There's things like Flexa, and there's a few that, and their goal is to replace MasterCard, right?
Because I mean, MasterCard's been around since we were young.
MasterCard? Yeah, well, MasterCard's always been around, but like MasterCard, for us, what is it truly, right? It's a bank, in essence. So it's just a different style of banking.
Hey, analyze, it is totally possible for you to own a Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You can buy portions of it.
But that's if Bitcoin's your chosen store of value. So
Yeah.
right now, there's at least 4 major networks that you can choose to store your value in. And, Solana, Cardano, Polygon, Ethereum, those are all still where, if you want, you could go buy a couple of Solano today if you wanted.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, we are not financial experts and assume no responsibility over decisions that you make.
I knew you were talking about NOIs.
Oh, I got a Google right
That
here.
sounds like a story time.
Yeah.
But no, like things like Apple stepping into this area is, I don't know, it does show major corporations not just suing you until you stop suing them.
Plus,
it's like Disney's strategy, right? Litigated away forever.
Beards! What's up, bro? Sorry, that was a little loud. And I totally agree. What's up?
Okay. Your mom's name.
Yeah, it's a short story. Her mom's name's Alexa. So they got an Alexa.
Hey,
right,
Ma!
and the funny thing is, did you ever hear about the guy that bought a pizza with Bitcoin?
You bought a pizza with
Shut
Bitcoin?
up.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
How?
So in 2014 or so, when Bitcoin was like $5 or something, right? No. It was in cents, because the guy paid like 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza.
Oh my god.
And yeah, that guy would be a billionaire right now if he hadn't done that.
Sorry, Anawise. I'll try to back up
$1 billion
more.
pizza.
Fucking.
That's funny.
So,
Beards, we're talking about.
Idea. Never use Bitcoin to buy an asset, because then you just made that Bitcoin worth that asset.
Mm-hmm. What were you saying, NJ?
Oh, I was just going to catch Beards up there. We're talking about the Apple versus Epic lawsuit and how Apple is deciding to use third-party peeps.
I think the biggest change, the biggest thing that really brought an impact to Apple is, for one, Tim Cook is leaving the company, and he's already announced that he wants to introduce one new category to the Apple line. So we don't know what that is. The card is already established. So I don't.
Is established?
Yeah, Apple Card is
No.
established, and Apple Credit
No,
Services.
Apple Car.
A car.
The
That'd be
electric vehicle.
yeah.
I mean, whatever happened to that?
I mean, they've been talking about it for years now.
Mhm. I mean, it's just like Apple to put something in development for years and then it never gets released. Look at the operating system that Jobs worked on for the longest time called Melissa. And $15,000 operating system, it was never released. But
Why was
So,
it called Melissa?
Puzzle
was after-
didn't get a cat. Sylvie got a puzzled.
it was called Melissa because at the time he already had his daughter whose name was Melissa, but he refused to acknowledge her existence and he continued to say that it wasn't his daughter, and to kind of prove that wasn't his daughter,
So
he
he tried to
decided
build a daughter AI.
Yeah. Well, no, an operating system, but close enough. I think the biggest thing that really like shows Apple that they need to change is 200 developers suing them in a class action lawsuit. And they're already coming to closing on that class action lawsuit, depending on how much you've made in Apple Store in the Apple Store. Apple doesn't want for the lawyers to just take a lump sum and distribute it equally. Apple's decided they'll give you a percentage back based off of you've made $100,000 in the Apple Store, and if you've made over $1 million, you'll get a bigger percentage back of your total
Right,
fees. I think
then-
it's like 15 or 20%.
Right, and I would be homeless, living in the woods.
I would recommend Google because it looks like a really fun place to work. They have like nap pods.
Honestly, I don't want to be on either end of anyone's anger, and both Google and Apple have a tendency to have upper management have really big anger egos. So neither.
I'll do my own company.
And
With
OGB,
blackjack and hookers.
That's
yeah.
what Crazy said.
Yeah.
Okay, Bender.
Forget the whole thing. And Beards, I'm not a big fan of Apple either. I used to be like a hardcore fanboy until the
Apple
innovation
died.
just stopped coming.
Yeah. It died with Steve Jobs, in my opinion. Like, after that, nobody had a drive to lead the industry, right? Like, that was how Apple became so big, is they led the industry. And then I felt like somewhere around the Samsung Galaxy 7, Samsung took over as leading the industry in innovation.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And even Apple's stance on your privacy doesn't really mean shit anymore, because they just recently received $15 billion from Google to make Google the primary search engine for their browser Safari.
So, side note, did y'all hear about how Google and Apple have both been contacted to hand over all information they have on certain American citizens
Yeah,
from
Apple said fuck you.
last year of May of last year to February of this year?
Apple has a hard fuck you stance. They've said no to the FBI before about mass shooters.
Oh no, it's the Congress. They're gonna turn, or from what I heard,
Ooh.
they're planning to turn it all over. Like they're putting it together.
Really? That's a first. I would have figured Apple would have had to have had some litigation before they released any information.
They get subpoenaed by Congress.
Can you imagine, like, you guys remember the Zuckerberg like interviews, right, with Congress during like the whole antitrust stuff? Like, can you imagine, like, as part of official millennials, like, yes, you've been summoned here against, for Congress, and you need to answer about all this stuff, and you're like, I don't know,
You
guy, I just
really
work here.
want to?
I don't know, guy, I just work here. Like, that sucks.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think it is for the January 6th events that happen. Is that right? Crazy.
Yeah, for the the mostly peaceful protest on January 6th.
There was a peaceful protest.
Whatever. Oh, you mean the insurrection?
Well, So the FBI so right now I think FBI classified it as a riot, no longer as an insurrection, because there was no plan and no leadership. So they couldn't say that it was somebody trying to take over the government. It's really weird. But the FBI just put out a big report.
We
The
just wanted to
Supreme
scare
Court-
them a little.